What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How's everybody doing out there on this Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, episode number 176? And what a treat we have. Dave, you're here.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Okay, good. Because
You've been unmuted.
There was still a notification saying the host.
No, I unmuted you quick. Your notifications are slow, but you're here for second week in a row. This is weird.
Yeah, I was very worried. I didn't want to start talking and have nothing happen. But yes, I am here yet again. Luckily enough, I am here. I have to study for a test tomorrow, but I can take some time and chill out here.
It's your immigration test, right? You're finally becoming a citizen of the United States.
I was going to make a bunch of comments, but I'm not going to do it on this show particularly. We'll skip over whatever I could say on that.
Yes, we will, because tonight is an annual tradition. It's starting here, and I'm enjoying it. I love when we do these things, but we'll get to that in a second because I have to do my normal little spiel here. So wherever you're watching from, whether it is YouTube, X, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, wherever it is, make sure you please give a like, share, follow, all that good stuff. Leave a comment over there so we can talk to you and we can interact. And if you're listening to this later via podcast form, make sure you give it 5 stars, leave a comment there as well. We would always love all of that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Last week we had a good time. We talked to FBI whistleblower Steve Friend. If you're into all that type of stuff with like conspiracies and things going on with the government, absolutely go there and watch it. Steve has gone through a ton, and you'll hear about all the things that he talked about. So definitely go over there and give it a listen. Nate G coming in. Dave, what are you going to do? Bad news, AOL shutting down its dial-up.
That is a little sad, right? But it's amazing that it's been still up.
That's you be AOL dev anymore?
Yeah. I'm still going to be that.
Maybe you could
keep the tradition going. I keep the legacy going no matter what.
You are dial-up dev. That is
the kids will know about AOL and floppy disks. They will know.
It's been given because of Melee games, so you have to have it.
Exactly.
So, well, like I said before, we have a kind of a tradition going here where we reach back and we talk a little foosball. We talk to some of our favorite coaches, and usually it's been separate, right? We've had one on and the other. But we decided to make this a smorgasbord because, these two guys, they pretend to like each other sometimes.
They do?
Maybe. Yeah, sometimes. Only on days that end in Y. Yeah. But let's bring them in. It's our good buddies, head coach Steve Fence and head coach Tommy Farrell. Coach Fence, head coach over there at New Egypt. Tommy Farrell, head coach over at our alma mater, Manchester Township. And also, Coach Fence, you have a new title as well.
I do. Vice Principal Athletic Supervisor.
That is, quite the mouthful. So do you have to put you're now like Daenerys Targaryen? You just have 19 titles. With your name.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah, he's like, yeah. They just keep on adding up.
The great thing about a Group 1 school is you've always had titles. They just keep, you just keep getting added on and added on. It's good.
I love it. So, gentlemen, it is always good to have you back, Coach Farrell. Good to see you, always, hanging out over there. So we want to jump right into the fun stuff because, like I said, we usually talk to you gentlemen separately, but this year we decided to make it a party. The season is right around the corner for both of you. Preparation, you guys are really just cracking in, making sure that everything is in order. So, Fancy, we're going to start off with you because I want to do a little touch on last season because I always think it's important as you're assessing the season coming up, take a quick look back and see what's there. So give us kind of a recap on how New Egypt football fared last year, who's moving on, and that type of fun stuff.
Awesome. So, last year was our first year transitioning over to the short conference from the WJFL, and the short conference welcomed us in with open arms, and it's kind of a perfect fit with us, with a lot of small schools like Keensburg, Keyport, Point Beach, schools like that kind of just fit into our division naturally. Allows us to develop some rivalries. And, we kicked off the season home against Keensburg, and kind of got our season, started the right way, and had some good wins, packed on after that. Had probably one of the most exciting games in our school's history, which was home against Neptune. Wound up winning, big school like that, and in our division, wound up winning a really tight game, 7-6. They missed an extra point, and they missed I think it was a 28-yard field goal that went off the upright with pretty much no time left.
Wow.
School went nuts, things went crazy, kind of kickstarted our season. We wound up to go on to kind of a early on division title game, against Shore Regional, who we kind of developed a little rivalry relationship with, and it's who we open our season up this year with. And they're pretty good. They thumped us pretty good the first time. Went in, down 7-0 at half, and then we wound up playing them in a state first round of the state playoffs. Went down 6-0 at half, and then kind of they had a little more depth going in the second half, and kind of beat us pretty good. But we finished the season with a winning record and had some really really positive experience in the Shore. And we're excited to have year 2 in the Shore. We return a host of guys, have some
So really
really great.
quick, was
Yeah.
that expected to come in because into the Shore and perform the way you guys did? Because it's a different conference. Shore has a real storied history in terms of just how competitive it is. A lot of really good teams in the state come out of the Shore. So as a coach coming in, like you obviously played in the Shore, you've coached in the Shore before, and in other schools. Did you expect to have this type of success with the program that you built?
So I mean, we had a rebuilding process. I think it was 2021. We had a really, really good senior class, and that senior class went on to a state playoff game that we lost, a heartbreaker. And then, we lost everybody, and we really, really had to rebuild. So,
Yeah.
it's been a rebuilding process. It was a 2-year rebuilding process, and we took our lumps, and then we grew. We didn't know how much we were going to grow, but the expectation of growth was there. And we got to a point where we knew we were better. Do we know we are going to play for a division title? No. Do we know we're going to make the state playoff? No. Those were goals that we reached. And now the goals get bigger. We lose some good guys that have gone off to college and play. Stephen Maleg, a great linebacker.
Yeah.
Aiden Healy, a very good linebacker, great linebacker as well, great leader. They're going on and playing college, which is great. Lost some really, really good seniors that we have to replace, and that's high school football, and in Group 1 it's tough. But we return starting receivers, starting running back, everybody in the secondary. So, we're excited with who we have. We've kind of changed our focus a little bit going into the year. Our thought process, has changed from, typically state playoff berths and competing for a state title to division stuff. We're really pushing to win our division this year. We haven't won our division since 2016, and being so close that last year, that's something that we really, really want to accomplish. We have a great division of some really good rivals with Point Beach and Keensburg and Keyport and Monmouth Regional. So those are teams that I think we can compete with. And the great thing about the Shore Conference is that we're going to go into every game, and every game's going to probably come down to the fourth quarter. So that's what's great about the Shore Conference, and that's what's great about the light competition that we're playing. And it comes down to how prepared are you, and how well we coach, and how well who makes a play, and that comes down to senior leadership and experience. And I'm hoping that carries through this year, and we have a great season.
So how's our boy Monty Richardson doing over there? How's he doing?
He is a tremendous defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Our defense led us last year. Our defense was better than our offense, and he's Coach A. We call him Coach A. Coach A is Coach A. Man, he brings tons of energy. The kids don't know how to react when we yell at each other in practice because we're competitive.
Remnants of his senior year at times.
Coach A is going to be a tremendous head coach someday.
Yes.
And I hope that I helped him along the way a little bit. So he does a tremendous job with all of my coaches. And that, with my new role, one of the things was, they're relied on more. I wasn't at practice today. I leave practice a little early sometimes if I'm meeting or something like that. So I had an off-season meeting and challenged the guys and made sure that they were okay with what was going on. and they were fully 100% supportive of it, happy and proud for me, and promised to step up and do their role. And all of my coaches have done a tremendous job of taking pressure off me, and my administration has taken pressure off me as well. They know that I'm transferring into a role that's a little unfamiliar while trying to do something I'm really familiar with. So it's been what was some anxiety going in with the amount of work that's going on. I have a tremendous support system, home and at work, and it's been a pretty good transition. I'm really, really excited.
I love that. You know, you got to love all the support that you're getting over there. And Monty, in the future, when you are a future head coach, if you're watching, you will be on here as a head coach and looking at Fancy and looking at Farrell's mugs and talking about your upcoming and things like that. So, Coach, going to you, Coach Farrell. Same thing. Give us a little bit of a rundown last year. Obviously, you know, exciting stuff from you know, an alumni's perspective, but give us a little rundown last year, how it went, and you know, key players that are now moving on to you know, college and other things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, first off, just thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
I tell Fancy every day I'm the man I am because of him, and he likes to yell at me and tell me that he's proud of me. But worked for him under 2 years, and worked for a lot of other coaches for years before I got the Manchester job, and that kind of all shaped me in the way that I coach Manchester. Yeah, we had a successful year last year. I kind of hate talking about it now. I hate that the team.
I know you said that last year when I asked you. It's like, I hate talking about last year. I'm going to force you every year to talk about the year before. You come on here, you're going to talk about it.
I know. I'm going to give the coach's answer. Like, look, I'm so proud of the year we had the last 2 years. Obviously, last year, winning our division championship, winning the first playoff game. What I'm most proud of is 5 fourth-quarter comebacks. Like, those kids found out how to finish. And I know the Cuesta brothers right there. Like, you guys watched a lot of our games.
Yeah,
and
it was there.
And there were times where my chin was down. I was like, oh God, not again. And the kids picked me up. You know, as a young head coach, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and they did a good job. Is like, yo, we got 12, we got 8 and 1. Like, we're going to be just fine. We have Ian.
And really quick here, coming from the perspective of 3 former Manchester athletes, Fancy, you can talk to this. There are times when we get down, right? Like, that's been a kind of a thing with Manchester. Sometimes we have grit, we have toughness, but there has been a lot of times with Manchester football in particular, fourth quarter comes and we haven't rose to the occasion a lot of times in Manchester. And that was such a nice difference to see. And we've had electric players, you know, like Aiden and stuff like that, and those fantastic players. And just to see the way the team stepped up last year and in those moments, you know, there was confidence. There were times when I was watching those games and I was like, if they get the ball in their hands, they're going to win. Like, and I think I was texting Dave and things like that. Like, they got the ball. There's a minute left. There's a few timeouts. They're going to march down and win this game. Like, it was a different feeling as a fan, as an alum, watching Manchester football last year.
And having alumni on the staff too, right? Like your boy Joe Hackett, like Chris Blaine, Alex Lund, you know, Coach O'Donnell, who's the winningest head coach of Manchester. When you can rely on a coaching staff that knows the town and knows the kids. Look, I'd like the town did welcome me in, and I'm happy where I'm at. But it's really a team effort. You know, the cliche answer is that I'm a small part of it, but it's so cool to see the town, almost like a small Texas town, like close out to come to Manchester games. So yeah, like last year was special. There's a lot to build off of, but you know what? Like, not happy right now, because in our first quad scrimmage, you know, we're young and we're making some mental mistakes, and a lot of these kids are getting their first varsity snaps. And that we took our lumps against Allentown and Pemberton and Morristown. But we're here, and they know the foundation is set, and the standard is the standard. There's no more like, oh, we're just Manchester. It's like, no, I want the target on our back. We want the target on our back. We want to play in a higher up division. You know, we've moved up 3 divisions in the last 4 years. So that says something to say about the kids, just performing. And yes, it was a great year. It was a great last 2 years. You know, 16-6 in 2 years is phenomenal. But we're not satisfied. And I'm trying to tell the kids that, like, I'm so – yes, you deserve the division championships. You deserve the division shirt, the banner, all that. That was last year. You know, it's 2025. The foundation is set. The standards are the standard, and we're just ready to roll. And we're honored to be in the division that we are, and we want to play the best. And that's what we're going to do this year.
So what's it like now coming into year 3, right? Like, you're not the young coach anymore. Like, you know, in age, you're young. In age, you are young. You're 4. Yeah, you're 4, right? Like, yeah, Jesus, it's been that long. But it's like, you're not, like, you're just a coach now. You're a veteran. Yeah. Like, there is no more, like, oh, you know, young coach Farrell. Like, no, you're established. Like, you're there. The school's established. Like you said, you know, Manchester, I hope at this point, like, you're probably getting more from coaches and things. Like, it's not anymore like, all right, we're going to go play Manchester and they might shock us, but we're going to go play them and we're going to go. Like, now it's like, oh, okay, we're going to go play Manchester. We got to come ball. Like, what's that like now coming in? And it's not, you know, there is no more, I'm a young coach. Like, you're now a veteran. You are 4 years in.
Look, again, lean on my staff, lean on these seniors, lean on the kids. Yeah. I'm not a micromanager by any means. At least I don't know if Coach O'Donnell is going to comment and say I am a micromanager.
Maybe just with him.
Look at Francis' face.
I'd like to think I let my coaches coach and I let my kids play, and I, you know, and look, I'll obviously say my words here and there and give my 2 cents, but I'm blessed with a phenomenal staff.
Hey, OD, what's up?
OD may like text and be like, "Give me the link. I want to get on it
now." But yeah,
OD doesn't know how to get on YouTube.
He does. He will.
I would like to think that the preparation is always the same. Yeah. The expectations are now the same, if not higher, and the standard is now the same, if not higher. So when you have now, granted, we only have a few returning starters coming back, but they were a part of that division championship team. Like, they knew what it took. I'm a big proponent of saying we can practice 8 to 11. You know, we can practice for 2 hours and lift for an hour. But what you do outside of 8 to 11, you know, like Coach Goodell, Rutgers wrestling coach, who's a good family friend of mine, he always says, everyone's good at 3 o'clock. What are you doing at 6 a.m.? What are you doing at 9 o'clock at night? Yep. And I'd like to say I'm on the Cuesta show at 9 o'clock at night. But that is a big thing. Like, if you just think you're going to put in the work when we tell you to, then fine. We'll get you right, but you're not going to be a champion. So in order to be a champion, you got to put in that extra work. And that's what the kids did the last year. The seniors bought in. I love that it's a close-knit community, just like New Egypt. Small group, you know, small group 2 school. Manchester and Lakehurst and Whiting. You might think, oh, 3 towns. But at the end of the day, like, the culmination of all the kids is not that big. They played
more
AYF.
Seniors than kids.
They played with each other in AYF. You know, they grew up together. And the fact that the town is now buying in, and the local businesses and the parents and everything, like, we're all on one common goal, and that goes a way longer way than just 8 to 10:30 every morning during training camp, and that's huge.
That makes a huge difference. It really does. And the town was always itching to be a football town, but we've never given them a reason to be a football town outside of, you know, a few really good years. And our really good years were going 4-4. Like, it really, like, that was a thing. I think OD was the first coach that had a winning season. And that was always
something. Like, there's great coaches before me. Like,
we've had,
you know, Will Panicue, like, everyone, like, and OD is the, like, people don't, like, how blessed am I to have Coach O'Donnell, who not only is the winningest coach at Manchester, but just retired from teaching. And I believe, and he might get mad at me if I'm wrong, but I think he's going to start subbing on Mondays and Fridays during the school year for JV games and for varsity games.
I love
just
that.
To be in the building. Yeah. And that just tells you his commitment to football. He's crazy. Sometimes there's a reason why I put him up in the booth. But we just got a Huddle fan membership, so they're going to be streaming all of our live games on Huddle.
There you go.
And I'm making sure they're muting that camera.
Yes. Good idea.
OD's going to be right next to, and he knows. He goes, yeah, just mute the camera. We'll be good. Just mute the camera. So, and even in good, like, we were up, you know, a good amount of points against Monmouth Regional last year, and he's just as passionate and loud. And
we all know that.
Really say positive, but like just a passion for coaching and correcting, and he's like a mad scientist. And couldn't, like, and look, don't get me wrong. There's a reason why I put him up in the booth. He may be my Uncle G 6 days of the week, and I love him. But that when it's game day, like, we gotta do what the head coach wants. And
well, we know Fenty knows all too well as the offensive coordinator when OD was the defensive coordinator, and those two having to be simpatico and on the same page on those days.
Yep.
But magic was made on a lot of those game days. So, yeah. Fenty, you've been coaching just for a little bit, not that long, just for a little while. But every year you kind of, I'd imagine, especially as a coach, you kind of do a little retrospective, right? So just looking back on, just last year, what did you learn as a coach about yourself, about the team, about the town? What kind of sticks out to you that you kind of learned?
So yeah, you always go back and you always, first of all, I give it a week. I get through Thanksgiving and then kind of reassess and I'll go back and watch my games and, I'm predictable. I'd look at myself and I'm like, man, you've just become old and predictable. So, you always look at some things and you try to switch some things up. No, you guys are laughing, but I'm serious. Like,
that's not a bad thing.
No, it is in the football aspect of things because a lot of these guys, a lot of these guys who are younger, they're good coaches, man. Like they know your tendencies and they know what you're doing, and they have the technology to run these huddle reports and all these things, and they're really, really good at what they do. And
so, Fence, how much has huddle changed that? How much has huddle given the ability to coaches to really break down? Because before it was kind of the honor code. You exchange tapes, with the other group, and sometimes you had to hassle some teams to get them, and they weren't as good, right? And that was different. You maybe got 3 games. You didn't get a whole entire catalog in huddle, right? So,
correct.
How much has huddle changed the ability to do tendencies and look back at coaches and things like that?
It's you can break down every game. Like the amount of time that you put on huddle is almost the amount, more than you spend practicing and playing the game itself. It's become crazy. And I have a great staff that does most of the huddle work for me. But being the old guy and being so busy, and now I'm going to even be busier. Like I spend a lot of my time just looking back and saying, wait a second, it's 3rd and 4. I just ran the same play, 82% of the time. What am I doing? Like they won that battle before I called the play. So I got to be less predictable. And that's what I look at. I look at tendencies and things like that and try to improve. And, but while you're doing that, you try to stay true to yourself. And, I'm still running the same offense with some variations. And you try to make, you look at what you have coming back and you set a roster and you kind of say, okay, I got this and that. What are we going to be good at with those kids? That's that might be what's a little bit different at the group 1 level with some, because last year I had a drop back quarterback who was good at quick game and good at reading defenses. This year I have an undersized quarterback who's good at being out of the pocket and hitting flat routes. And so you got to change up what you do that way from a group 1 perspective. And I have some awesome group 1 coaches that just understand that what we have to do and what we have to go through. And group 1 football is different. And, you have to prepare differently because I don't want to say you simplify your schemes, but you're asking kids not only to play running back but wide receiver, but to also be the kick returner and maybe even the kicker and maybe even the holder.
And that's roster size, a lot of that, right? That's roster size. That's the size of the school. It does change the dynamic.
It does, but it also changes your depth. So, where most schools, I think my ones can go out and pretty much compete with some good group 1 and group 2 schools. If I have an injury, I'm putting in a freshman that freshman on maybe Tommy's team or on another opponent's team, that freshman would be playing freshman ball, maybe not even starting. So by the time the end of the season comes, you got to change the way you practice. You have to change everything that you do to make sure you're fresh for those important games in the middle of October. And we've talked as a conference and we've had great representation to try to get those non-conference games a little earlier in the schedule and maybe not back to back to where you're playing some bigger schools, because you're always going to have bigger schools because you're the smallest. So you don't get beat down by those big schools so much. And the short conference has done a great job of listening to us. And I feel like we're starting to have a strong representation of Group 1 football, and the consistency there is important, and it's just a different breed. Like even when we play Shore Regional, who's a rival, they're a big Group 1 school with 700 kids. Well, we have 310 kids. That's still a different size animal to go compete against
100%.
from a depth perspective. But you find ways, and you find ways to be successful, and you change your practice schedule, and maybe you give them a Saturday off here and there, and maybe you do some virtual stuff, and you find a way to keep your guys fresh and keep it fun, and keep it simple enough to where they can play fast and not just have to think. The more they have to think, the more they slow down. So the more that you give them, the more that you give them, the harder it is for them. So you try to keep things simple, and then you try to find your one-way guys where you can, and simplify. We have a corner and a Z receiver who are similar. Maybe we'll split those guys up and give them one role each, and go get good at one role.
Coach OD chiming in. I'm not going to say you micromanage.
It took you that long to type that? Fingers on home row?
Oh, that's great.
Oh my God! All right,
so Coach, he knows how to work YouTube. That's great. That's good.
There you go.
Oh, Coach Sacone's in here.
Yep. So, Coach Farrell, over to you. What about you? What is something that last year, after looking back on it, that you learned about yourself as a coach?
Trust the players. I mean, there's a lot of times where I want to be conservative. There, and Coach Fence maybe might make fun of me here, but and my brother sitting next to me, you might want to think it's like a Madden game or a college football game on PlayStation, and you're like, oh, I just want to be conservative here. Or, well, you know what? Like, not saying it's analytics, but you know what? You got to trust the players, and if the players want something, that's good. And I'll always trust to a degree, trust the players, trust my defense coordinator to a degree. That's Coach OD right there. But I've learned that it's not. And I'm gonna throw in our little motto here that actually is our motto this year for Manchester, and me and Coach Fence helped me come up with this. It's integrity over ego.
Yep.
And there's sometimes where you want to put yourself, like you want to just call a play, or you want to do something because it's for the best of you, or, our motto is integrity over ego, and I'm second. The second you can put your team or God or your family or your community or your academics in front of football will take care of itself. So I've learned to kind of take a step back. I'll be the first one to say, maybe it's because of my age, but I don't want to make any excuses. I was very big on social media. I was big on Instagram. I was big on Twitter. I'm so done with that. I get so much disgust, like posting all the time, unless it's celebrating our kids, because the kids deserve to be celebrated with all the hard work they put in. And I think we took that seriously. At least I took that seriously, and I hope I'm doing a good job at relaying it to the team. But once you put yourself second, everything else follows. And I think once you do that, things can be magical. And we're excited for this year.
The one thing I did, I know you were taking a step back, and, we talked about that a little bit, but I personally loved the way you advocated for Manchester football, and love the way that you worked hard, because social media is big right now and everything, right? And a social media presence is massive. It's a part of the game, and you have to have some youngins to help you adjust and things like that. And, but I enjoyed watching you advocate so much. And I thought, Coach Fence, you guys did a pretty good job over at New Egypt too, putting in a lot of cool stuff with your athletes and celebrating wins and things like that. And I think that's, as much as I think all of us come from a generation of, you won a game, get ready for the next one, right? That's not kind of how it is, and it isn't. You could do it internally, but the town wants to see you celebrate your wins. People want to see, and because they want to celebrate with you, right? They don't want, it's not necessarily to be like this big show, but the town wants to feel some pride. They want to see that you're recognizing that they're a part of this too. And I think that's a small way in social media when you do highlight, Coach Farrell, I love that you highlight the community service of the athletes all the time. And I think the parents truly enjoy that you're giving that shine. And, and Coach Fence, you're always throwing a party after every win, right? But that's one of your big things. So it's like,
party on Evergreen, baby.
Yeah, there we go. And I think that it's like, as much as social media can get tough, right? Because the negative comes with it too. You get some jokers, you get people like that, but it's like, and the people that don't understand it are like, oh, why are you focusing on social media so much? Shouldn't you be coaching? It's like, sometimes that's part of it. Sometimes that's part of a little bit of everything. So, I do like the way you highlight it, and I like the way both you guys, do your thing there. So I want to move on to some off-season stuff, because I think that we see game day, we talk about the games, we talk about the season, but there is a ton of work that I've seen firsthand, obviously being the nephew of Coach Porterways, who was there forever. And I still feel like, even though he's like doesn't want to, like, he
still shows up, baby. He
even if he's not there, he'll be there. He's always there. But just watching all the work that he put in all year round, everything and all different things. And it's not just game day, and it's not just that training camp, it's everything. So Coach Farrell, I'm gonna let you start this one.
Yeah.
What is it like in these 8 to 9 months in between the type of work that you guys are doing with your staff, with yourself behind the scenes, to get yourselves ready for training camp and start of the new season?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say is kind of piggybacking off of Coach Fence. You do a lot of self-scouting, and that's the beauty of Huddle. You can do what they call self-reports, which we pay for, which I think is a no-brainer. Where I'll know, like Coach Fence said, what did we do on third down? What did we do behind the 20? What did we do on the left hash? What did we do defensively against a certain, like, Huddle makes it easy to self-scout, and I think that's huge, because if you don't look at yourself in the mirror, your opponent's going to be your worst enemy. Yeah. And I'd like to think that, I don't want to say we were predictable, but you're always going to be predictable when you self-scout. So you want to make sure you're not predictable. But more importantly, going into the winter, and even now with the FAFSA and the transfer portal, you want to get your seniors into college. Mm-hmm. And I take a lot of pride in that, because I want there to be life after Manchester. I want there to be life after football. And my coach Gardner Coach Gardner, who was my head coach at Stonehill, he always said, this isn't a 4-year plan. This is a 40-year plan. Yeah. And I believe in that at the high school level. I don't care if you don't want to play in football. It takes a lot of cojones to say, I love this game, but I don't know if I want to make that commitment. That's fine. I'm going to meet with your guidance counselor. We're going to get you to a right college. Mm-hmm. We had the amazing opportunity, and maybe Coach O'Donnell, who's in the comments, can comment to this. We sent 10 kids to play college football last year, ranging from Division II to Division III. We have Josh Love, who's a former FCS player at Monmouth University. Mm-hmm. That I didn't even get emotional about that, because these kids wanted to, and I played Division II football. Not that it's about me, but I know the commitment it takes at any level. My brother, who's sitting next to me, plays Division I football. Mm-hmm. My father coached in college. Like, we know the commitment that it takes. And I relay that to them. And it's okay if they don't want to make that commitment. But for 10 out of our 18 or 19 seniors to want to play at the next level was everything. And if I start naming, I'm sure I'll forget people, but we have a lot of kids going to play at the next level. So that's winter to early spring, even late spring with FAFSA and the portal and everything. Yeah, and then it goes into the next season. You have a parent meeting, you have a staff meeting, you have summer workouts starting for open season, which is like usually the last week of school or even the week after that. Mm-hmm. Then it goes right into 7-on-7. And there's really no time off. You're not in the coaching high school football for the money. You're in it because you believe in the kids and you want the experience you had and you want to do right by them. Yep. And then it's just kind of that full circle every single time.
So before we get to you, Coach Fence, I'm getting yelled at by Coach OD, and I will always jump as high as Coach OD wants me to, and he yells at me to. So he still has that grip on me. So he says, I don't know how to say this name. Fence?
Ascalese.
There you go. Wow. Coach Ascalese had a 6-2-1 season in 1990.
I was on that team.
Hey, there you go. All right. So were you the star receiver out of that team?
No, I think I was 15 with a lot of pimples.
And then he next said, quick game on first down, Fence. Yes, we know. But hey, it works. Quick game works. It does. And then I got yelled at. Let's go read the chat. Sorry, OD. I'm not. You can run the show, OD. It's all yours.
Yeah, he wouldn't know. Do you think he I won't even get there.
Listen, like I said, he is still my defensive coordinator. He's still the head football coach that I was coaching underneath. So, I will always listen to Coach OD. So, so I love that. I just love hearing all the prep there. So, Fancy, what about you? Is there anything different that you do off-season prep-wise?
So again, from November or December through February, it's usually self-scouting, a lot of family time. It's a lot of I haven't spent time with my wife and kids, and my daughter's in her second year of her master's in college, and my son's going off to college.
Don't make me feel old. Don't make me feel old.
And Liam's a sophomore, so it's a lot of holiday time, family time. My wife and I like to go away for a weekend to Florida just to spend some time and reconnect. And then February comes around and the clinic comes around, and then it's go time. And we wear different hats. I'm blessed enough to start a girls flag football team at New Egypt.
That's awesome.
And beat Coach Farrell. And
he did. He did. I won't blame it on the wind, but he totally did.
The wind was small. Don't worry, I'll beat you in our scrimmage next Friday. Oh wait, sorry. But we're blessed to have a really good girls flag team, and our flag team went to the semifinals of the Shore Conference. It was 4 in the Shore.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. But you're always coaching. At a small school, we encourage everybody to play multiple sports. So we're begging kids to get in the weight room after school, and those who aren't playing, but most of them are either playing basketball or baseball or track or lacrosse. We have a lacrosse team at New Egypt. So, and we encourage them and we fight for them to get in the weight room, but they're all doing something. Yeah. So we start back up with 7-on-7 season. We try to encourage, and I use a lot of guys for private training position groups, and our quarterbacks have done a great job in the past of going and getting trained and coming back better than they were the year before. The kid who just graduated from us, he's had the most improvement of any kid that I've ever seen in high school, and that was a testament to his hard work and what he did in the off season. And my quarterback now, who's going to be a sophomore, is doing the same thing with the same trainer. The onus is on them a little bit to put in the work. But again, the spring is probably my toughest season because I'm coaching track, or I show up to track. And
if you ever need any help, I got you, Fancy.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then we do girls flag football. So there's nights I show up at 7, I get home at 8. So those are long days, and then I get a couple week break from that time that ends to the start of 7-on-7 camp, and then once 7-on-7 stuff goes, it's go time, and you get in the routine of what your summer looks like and what the expectations are for the kids, and you just go. I mean, when you think about it, the first round state playoffs this year is on Halloween, that weekend. If you started in June, you're more than halfway done your season, and that's the way we look at it. It's crazy how fast this thing goes, and you try to get that to your kids that it goes fast, but it's the preparation is it's 12 months now, and sports specialization has taken over, and it kind of it probably affects Group 1 more than anything. We encourage our kids and push our kids, and that's probably what I'm going to push the most about being an athletic supervisor, is that we need our best athletes to play multiple sports. We have a phenomenal baseball player and a phenomenal basketball player, and I tell him all the time he chose not to play football. I say to him all the time that it's a disservice that I never got to coach you, and he's just that kid who's a great basketball and baseball player and just never got the football mentality, or not mentality, that's a bad word, but football itch. Yeah. And I think if I could have dug my claws into him a little bit, he would have been a great football player. But we want all of our athletes, especially in a school where there's 155 boys, to go play. And I'm pleased to say last year we had 48 out of 150 on our roster. This year we have 38 out of 150 on our roster. So we're pleased with that. Yeah. And you're always pushing to get more guys, and there's different challenges. So it's pretty the off season I love it because it's routine. I know what every day of every month is, and as you get old, you like routine.
So I will come out and always say I'm like fully against sports specialization. I really am. Unless it's like a distance running. That may be it, because you're a distance runner. More than likely, you're not very good at other sports. I'm not going to be mean, but I can be mean to my fellow distance runners. Usually you're just a runner and you're getting ready for AP
I have
classes.
seen distance runners try to shoot a basketball.
You're getting ready for AP classes and things like that. You're not thinking about who you're going to hit or dunking. No, you're not doing that. So distance running and things like that, sure. But like baseball, you're only becoming a good baseball player, not a good athlete. Basketball, you're becoming a good basketball player that can't take a hard foul and finish, right? Go do other sports. You'll get your footwork better. You'll get tougher. There's only benefit from that.
You don't want to see me in fence on the basketball court. I think we can agree on that one.
I mean, you guys would get worked anyway. But and even on a tennis court, especially fence, we'll take fancy on tennis. But
now that's not true.
We've had some actually pretty good matches. You guys, me and David versus you and Coach Craig, Keith. We've had some pretty good matches between us.
I don't remember that, but yeah, I'm sure we did.
And Keith carried you the whole way. Anyway,
15 years younger than me.
That's the excuses coming out.
Maybe 20.
But so on top of that, I do have to say, as much as I think girls' flag is cool, and I'm happy that they got it, can we throw pads on the girls? Can we stop? Can we stop with this?
Good thing we have an athletic director in the show now that can maybe give some expertise.
Can we stop with this whole entire movement? It's like, okay, girls, we're going to throw you a bone. We don't think you can hit each other. Like, put pads on the girls. Let them hit each other. Let them get they've changed girls lacrosse. I'm going to go on my rant real quick, but girls lacrosse where they're not allowed to hit each other or throw the ball too hard. I'm like, can we stop treating girls like they can't get physical, please? That's my plea. Put pads on them. Let them hit.
Say that to my 2-year-old. I'm sure she'd be all about that. Listen, I've been doing everything. So
I've gone on record here flat out saying that if either of my 7 or 5-year-old daughters ever become interested in lacrosse, I am not letting them play Scholastic. I'm starting my own league, and I will end Scholastic female lacrosse as it is known, because they will all want to come play in my leagues. I let them hit each other. I let them stick check. I let them play the sport. That's just me. But that's I'm not against women, girls going to do more stuff, like whatever, go play flag, get pads on them, let them hit. Anyway, I'm going to get to a few comments here. So Joseph Saccone saying 2 of the best in the shore of the state on and off the field. I can't disagree with that.
He's one of the best. He's the head coach at Point Beach. We love him. I actually played for him. He was my linebackers coach when I played at Donovan back in the day. I know you guys don't like Donovan. That is my
own. Well, Donovan doesn't exist. It's Monsignor Donovan anyway.
Yeah. There you go.
Donovan Catholic's not a place.
We love him. We love Z.
So
he's the best. He's the absolute best.
We appreciate you tuning in, Coach. We really do. Short conference football player and stuff here and things like that. So we appreciate that. Coach OD throwing in a haha. Farrell's lucky I don't pull up in the garage. Do it, Coach. Do it. You're invited. Pull up.
Shut the garage door. Lock it.
Oh my God. Coach Saccone jumping in. Group 1, not for the weak. Fence sets the bar.
I think he meant goes to the bar.
No, hey, after games, it's necessary, whether it's a win or a loss, it's necessary at all times. Coach, I don't know how to say your last name.
My Uncle Leon. That's my Uncle Leon, my godfather. He was the so of course I always talk about my dad and my brother and everyone in the football family. He's the only family member I have that won a Group 4 state championship at Brick Township. So I'm sorry, Godfather, my Uncle Leon. Yeah. Look, he played for Warren Wolf. He's got a ring and we don't. So I just kind of put my hands up and be like, you won, brother. You won.
Uncle Leon, it's envy. It's okay. That's just envy and jealousy. He doesn't want to mention you in there because he doesn't want to have to live up to that. So take it as a compliment.
He's the best.
I want to move into this upcoming season coming in, because obviously the biggest challenge of being a Scholastic coach of all the sports is you're coaching a different team every single year. Different, you can imprint your personality as much as you want, but each team kind of takes on their own footprint, right? So, Fenty, we're going to start with you. Talk about some of the key players you have coming back, positions. If you've named captains yet, who they are. Yeah. And, talk about, so first let's start talking about those players.
Sure. So I'm going to talk about, I'll start my captains first. Captains were voted on by our players, which is awesome. They get to pick their leadership. So the first kid I'm going to talk about is our left tackle and our D end, all conference player. His name's Sawyer Hughes. He's just an awesome kid, great leader, and just has an unbelievable motor and does everything for us on the defensive line. And I'm excited for him to have a monster year. Another captain is Clyde Ferris. Clyde is our starting X receiver. He's a kid who caught the ball against Neptune on a fade route to win us that game. He is a tall, lanky kid. Actually dropped 44. I think had the highest point score in the short conference last year. He's dropped 44 in a game. Nice. For basketball, but he's a tall, lanky X wide receiver for us, and we're going to do some things with him this year, which are pretty amazing. He's tough to cover backside, and he's almost going to demand a double team. So we're really excited. He's actually didn't play defense last year. He's going to transition, play some safety and corner for us this year. So we're excited to see what Clyde can do. We have Toby Chow. Toby Chow's going to be a 4-year starter. He's actually going to play in more than 40 games for us. Just got named today to the one of the DBs to watch on NJ.com. Awesome. And he's going to transition. He hasn't played much offense. He's going to transition. In our first scrimmage, he had 5 catches. So he's going to transition to the offensive side of the ball for us and do a really, really good job. And the last kid is going to be a 4-year all-conference kid, and he's a special player. He's going to play in college somewhere for sure. Hopefully, they all play in college, but and they should. But Lucas Burgos is a returning kid who's a running. He played running back and led our team in rushing, and he's a receiver. He's really a slot receiver. We call him our J receiver, and he's a free safety. He's probably transitions to free safety, strong safety in college. But I've never seen a kid that has such instincts before. He had 3 catches in our last scrimmage. One was for 45, and we were picking on him that he got caught from behind. But we have tremendous leadership from those kids. We're transitioning to a sophomore quarterback who I've known for years. His name's Thomas Marabuto, and he really, just for his ability to understand what the offense does is amazing. And he's gonna, I don't see, when I got there, I think we broke all the passing records in the first 8 games of me being there. Coach Farrell's dad didn't throw the ball much. I think he ran power.
He didn't like to throw the ball. As my hat says, run the damn ball. My dad instilled that in me. Yeah, he didn't like to pass the ball too much.
And we know Fenty. What did Coach say, OD, over there? Quick game on first down.
We like to throw the ball a little bit. We like to spread the field. We like the defense to defend from sideline to sideline. So, I think, he's going to have a chance to set all the passing records by the time he leaves New Egypt if he stays healthy. But he's, only bad thing about him is he's a Giant fan, and we pick on each other a little bit all the time, but he's a great kid, and he's a student of the game, and he does everything the right way. Thinks he's a basketball player. He's more of a quarterback. We're trying to change that mentality, but he's he's a great kid, and he's probably gonna leave here with all the records when time's done. And I got 3 years with him, and then we'll reassess where I'm at and if I'm collecting Social Security or not. We'll see.
So what does that mean to a small school to have, some of these really standout players, especially having an all-conference player for the past 3 years and things like that, and someone who is almost, as long as he's healthy, is going to play in college 100%, right?
Right.
What does that mean? Because obviously some other schools, you'll have bigger schools that'll have those players, right? And that's kind of a norm. But for smaller schools, does it mean more to kind of have those types of talented players and have other players kind of feed off of them, and a young quarterback who's now going to have 2 very talented wide receivers to throw the ball to? What does that mean for a smaller school?
So the biggest thing that we were able to do over the past couple of seasons is, like I said, if earlier in the podcast, we had a really great season a few years ago, and then we had to rebuild. The biggest thing is not to have that down class where you have 4 or 5 kids. You always want to carry about 10, right around 8 to 10 from a group 1 level in each class. And that allows you to have JV games. And to a group 2 program or a group 3 program that has freshman JV varsity, our challenge to get a JV game in. There were many years that we couldn't even host a JV game because we're using those players on varsity minutes, and I'm not risking it. we had a full JV schedule last year, and we got everybody reps and everybody better and everybody up to football speed. It's tough when you're 14 years old going up against 18-year-olds and dealing with that speed and size. To allow them to get some success down at the JV level is what's going to keep our program from having to rebuild. And that's the most exciting thing in Group 1 is to keep that continuity and keep people, seeing the vision and seeing the goal and just getting better. The most fun I have is going to see my coaches coach on a JV level and seeing what they're doing and seeing them have fun. We're always trying to qualify for the JV state playoffs. And, I'm not going to give it away, but our coaches like to start off with toss pass in the beginning. And, they just go have a good time and the kids buy in and they know, when you're 14, 15 years old, that I got to go practice for 2 years before I see the field.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no JV games. That's a long road for them to buy into.
Yeah.
When you go play every Monday, it becomes fun and you develop camaraderie with your teammates. And that's a big deal for us. So we're excited to have another full JV season this year and allow our players to grow and get better. And, that will mean that there is no rebuilding period, that there is no drop off. And those schools that are successful on the Group 1 level, that's what they do. And it took me a little bit to figure that out because, to a fault when I first got there and I was a head coach, which is, 10 years ago, I was all about what do we have now, not what do I have to develop. And it's become more about development and the molding the players that you have is the easy part. It's developing the guys that you have so you can continue to be successful, especially at a Group 1 level that has become my thing, my vision is to develop those younger kids so they can step on the field and go be successful. And that it's just different challenges for different programs and it's become something that I think, I don't want to say I'm good at it, but it's become something that, I can foresee more, where we're going to be a year or two from now, where maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I'm like, okay, that was a great year and we did great. And look at that. And I got this award and that guy got that award and that guy. And then I'm like, okay, what next? Now I'm looking 2 or 3 years into the future with what we have and what we can do and spend a lot of time, developing my sophomores and freshmen that are here now. I've known going to AYF games and things like that. I've known forever. And, it's Marabutto, who's my sophomore quarterback, I've known since he's been in 5th or 6th grade, just because of the tightness of the town. And I've gone and seen him play and I've gone to camps that he's been at and things like that. So you develop those relationships and you start to foresee what the town can be and what the school can do. And people buy in, like Coach Farrell said, and, New Egypt buys into football and he knows that and everybody knows that. And, we've really become a football school, and that's what we're a girls softball school because we're really, really good at that. And in the fall we become a football school, and I'm a big believer that football controls the culture of your school year, and that's a thing that we've become really, really proud of.
I love everything about that. Like in this, all that, everything you said. Honestly, it's like it's very much fancy in the way that teaching and things like that, and giving it to all the kudos to your players. But one thing, as I've paid attention more and coached under OD for a little, and have continued to look at the high school game in Jersey and stuff like that, taking for granted being able to play freshman ball when I was younger, and not realizing how difficult it is for so many schools to get that there. And what we had in Manchester for a smaller school that wasn't really a football school, to be able to do that, and finding out that some years they couldn't. And it's like, it's crazy too. And I couldn't imagine
this year, just so you know, these are one of those years.
Yeah. And I couldn't imagine being a 14-year-old having to play varsity, because I remember playing freshman ball and I got to play about half the season up at JV. Just the difference in speed from freshman ball to JV and the physicality just from freshman to JV was absolutely different, completely and totally different. To have to go up and play varsity against basically what, we considered grown men back in the day. They were 17, 18. They were massive. They were strong. They were fast. They were physical. Man, I would be freaking terrified. So I give credit so much, Group 1 athletes more than I ever have, the small schools, because that is just friggin' awesome what they're able to do. So, Coach Farrell, going to you. Give us some of your captains, if they're named already, key players to watch out for, and all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, so we have we named our 5 captains, kind of like Coach Fentz does. Players vote as well as coaches. I've kind of learned in my younger years as being a head coach, sometimes that can turn into a popularity contest, and that's on me for not establishing the culture of what a captain is. So the last 2 years we've done players vote, coaches vote. Players have the most say in the vote. But what I did for the first time this year was coaches and the outgoing seniors have the same value to their vote. So I've only had 4 captains since I've been a head coach at Manchester. This year we've had 5, which speaks to leadership. Yeah, yes, we may be a younger team. We may lose a lot of seniors, but to name 5 like unanimous captains speaks to the leadership and the culture that we're trying to build. So first we have Aiden Phillips-Frazee, who's a returning starter at D-back. He's one of the few D-backs to pick off Owen O'Toole, who was their stud quarterback at Rumson last year. So he's coming back. He's going to be our starting X receiver as well as our D-back. We have Malik Farms, who is actually a 4-year starter going on his 4th year, dressed and played as a freshman. He's our returning running back and also our corner. He can wreak some havoc in the run game. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with on both sides of the ball. He's just a natural athlete. He does what OD wants him to do on on defense, and he run the damn ball, just like my hat says. He knows his lanes. He has great vision for a small, shifty back. He has low center of gravity.
Malik had some big moments last year in big spots, so I'm excited to see him come back.
Absolutely did. We have Miguel Espinal. Miguel is also a 4-year varsity letter winner, offensive lineman and D lineman, kind of our lineman leader, as you would say. He's going to be our guard and our one tech on both sides of the ball. And he knows that that's not easy to play both sides of the ball, not only both sides of the ball in Group 2 football, but on the line, both sides of the ball. And he's taken that with privilege and with honor. Couldn't be more proud of him. Curtis Mayer. What can I say about Big Kurt? 6'3", 220-pound defensive end. He's going to be seeing time. He's going to have 2 jersey numbers this year. He's going to have number 9 and he's going to have number 56 because, as Coach Fentz knows, in Group 1 football, Group 2 football is not that much different. When we have certain rotations or certain personnels, he's going to be our left tackle. When we have certain rotations and certain personnels, he's going to be our tight end. And he showed what he can do at tight end in open space on Waggle against Morristown in our scrimmage on Monday. Let alone has a million tackles. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. And the first play of his varsity career was his 2nd game as a freshman, sacking the Tom Zavri's quarterback. And awesome. Right then and there, we knew that Kurt was going to be something special. So to have him back with all of his varsity experience with a young team, he's hungry and he's ready and he's playing with a chip on the shoulder, just like all of our guys are playing with a chip on their shoulder. Just because we were defending, C-South champs doesn't mean anything. We're going into B-South, and we know that's going to be a challenge, but we are being overlooked, and that's fine. But the fact that these kids are defending champs with a chip on their shoulder is dangerous. And I love that tenacity and that hunger from them. And then to round it all off, we do have 5 captains. Our only junior captain, Mike Fink. Mike Fink does everything the right way. He is our tight end. He is our backup running back, and he is our starting middle linebacker. And just a side note, I pick who wears number 7 every year for one of my best friends from high school, Francis Duddy, who passed away in a car accident. He wore number 7. So it's an honor for me to kind of pick who wears number 7 every year. And we also have a 7 helmet sticker on the back of our helmets every year, as well as number 58, Nick Ott, who died serving our country, a Manchester alum. Yeah. So Nas Battle wore number 7 the last 3 years as our varsity tight end, who's now playing at Fairleigh Dickinson. And I asked Mike Fink, no questions asked, I know you're number 33. I know that's your baseball number. Do you mind wearing number 7? Coach, it would be an honor. Coach, can I actually talk to Coach Duddy just so I know the number I'm wearing? And that speaks value. He does it on and off the field the right way. Great family. Family is like one of the best families to ever go through Jackson Township in football and baseball. So those are our 5 captains, and I couldn't be more proud with the leadership we have. Shore Savages actually did a little preview on us today, and our our biggest strength was our leadership. And at first I was like, ooh, they're not picking a position group. That means we're not talented, right? Because I'm human and we look at that stuff, and I'm not going to say like, oh, it's just the media. It doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, at first I'm like, how do they not pick our D-backs, who we have 3 returning starters? How do they not pick our running back with Malik, who's a 4-year starter? How do they not pick our D-line with Kurt? How do they not pick our quarterback, who, yes, Aiden Lund has been a dog the last 3 years, but Trevor Fryer has some serious promise at quarterback. They pick our leadership. And at first I was like angry. And I was like, they're not picking a position group. But then I kind of sat back, and thought about it. And I was like, what an honor. What an absolute honor for a team that, yes, as they also said in their preview, has been in football purgatory for a long time. And to come out graduating 18 seniors with only a handful of guys returning on both sides of the ball, to say that our biggest strength is leadership. I sat back and I was like, wow, that's an honor. That the media, who's not at practice every day, believes in the culture and sees what we're doing and sees the upcoming returners and the captains. And at first I was mad, and then I was like, wow, that is everything under the sun that myself, my coaching staff, the players like you guys before me, the coaches like me before me have instilled since 1976. And I thought that was awesome. So
do you take any of that also as a compliment to what you have built already and your staff? And, something with staff consistency is helpful too, right? Like, there hasn't been much turnover in your staff. And I think Coach Fence, the same goes for you, with not a ton of turnover. And that same message coming from the same coaches is big, right? Because, at times when you have those coaches turnover where you have, Fancy, I think you fully expect at some point that Coach Richardson is going to go on, right? Like, he's going to move on to a program to call his own. And, obviously you're preparing for that day every time, but the consistency of the staff does help. So Coach Farrell, did you take any of that coming towards you, what you've built as a head coach, and also towards your staff in terms of the leadership as well? Or did you see it as all with the players?
Mostly with the players, mostly with the blue collar community that Manchester Lakehurst and Whiting builds. Like, these kids are hungry. I won't say what game, but one of the pregame speeches I gave, and I don't like write my pregame speeches. I don't look at a phone or a piece of paper. It kind of just comes off the cuff. One of the pregame speeches I said was, we don't have friends on the other team, and you will never be respected. So how are you going to respond to that? And that was in my first or second year. And I think they took that to heart. And also, going kind of off of what you asked, we had and Coach Fence can attest to this, we had a very cool short conference media day last week where it was hosted at Brick Memorial. They did it by division, so it wasn't like super crowded. Yeah. And you get up to the podium with the 2 players you bring and you give an opening statement. It was really cool. And then you take questions from the media. And one of the media questions
that's different. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was asked was, do you feel legitimized as a head coach moving up 3 divisions in the last 4 years? And my answer was, and it's still my same answer now, because I know the reporter who asked that, and we're friendly and we kind of talked about it. I said, I don't care what people think is a legitimate head coach or a legitimate program. As long as I'm doing right by the kids, and as long as they're becoming better men every single day on and off the field, that is my job. I am not the head coach at Notre Dame or Alabama or Ohio State. I'm not the head coach, and God bless them. I'm not the head coach at Bergen Catholic or Don Bosco or Tom's River North, and I love Coach Oz, and he knows that. I'm the head coach at Manchester, and we grind, and we're gritty, and we're physical, and we deal with everyday struggles, as you guys know more than me. I didn't grow up in Manchester. So to be legitimized, I don't care about. And if that's a bad answer, then so be it. I care that my staff cares, and we care that we're doing right by the kids on and off the field. And it's been proven that when you do that, you can be champions, and you can have winning seasons, and you can come back for 5 times in one season, whether I'm going to have a heart attack before the time I'm 30. So that question kind of goes in what you were asking. Yeah. Is it an honor to play with Ocean County perennials this year? Southern, Central, Brick, and Toms River South? Absolutely. But guess what? We're in that division for a reason. the committee, the short conference committee, think we can compete in that. And guess what? I don't care about graduation. I don't care about recent success. I care about 2025 and the leadership we have now. And we are going to be honored to not only compete, but we're going to try to win some football games this year. Because guess what? Mm-hmm. Call me crazy, but we've been a winning program the last few years. And we're now a winning program. And that is the standard. And that's the foundation. There's no more building the foundation. There's no more rebuilding. It's reloading and refiring. And that's what we want. And that has been instilled in the kids. And that's why these captains were picked. And I'm so fired up for this season because we do have a little chip on our shoulder. And that's how we want it. And that's the schedule we want. Mm-hmm. And that's the schedule we're going to play, just like we played Rumson last year and Point Borough in the semis and West Deptford twice. Like, that's what we want. And guess what? Year in and year out, as long as I'd like to think as a staff, we're doing our job the right way, because I hate saying that's what we want. And that's how we want it. And yes, I love academic success. I love the community. And we're going to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. But I do want to win some football games. You know,
I'm in
the football coaching business to not lay up every Friday night. Mm-hmm. Like, we're in it to win. We put in so many hours, staff and kids, to win a football game. And now we have the mentality that we can win. We've won 16 games in 2 years. That's something to be said, regardless of graduation. There is a standard now. So I know I rambled. I know it's a rant, and I apologize.
Yeah, I love it. It's all right.
Why you're here. I got caught up with the heart attack by 30 coming. Are you not 30 yet? Because if you're not 30 yet,
I was saying that because I turned 30 at the end of last year, but now it's before I'm 31.
Fence already forgot.
I was going to hang up.
But one thing I do like, I love that Manchester's back in B South, because when I was there, B South's all I knew. B South is all I knew. That's where we were for most of our history. We were a B South, and we got our asses kicked, but we fought, we kicked, we scratched against the Toms Rivers, outside of North, against Pinelands, Bricktown, Lacey, all of these schools that were in and out. But we battled and we fought in B South. So I'm happy that, for me, Manchester's home. Manchester's home. Manchester's back. That's where we belong.
There were some actual fights with Pinelands too.
Well, I mean, Mason throwing a neck punch was amazing.
I'm not going there. If Coach OD isn't talking about the Red Bank Catholic game back in 2000 or 1812 or whenever it was, where we came back from.
Oh, he's talked about it. I'm surprised you didn't put up the film yet in the chat. I don't know if you can upload MP4s, but I've seen it before.
MP4s. It was a VHS. Come on.
Wait, what's a VHS?
It's right up there with an 8-track. But anyway, so we're gonna quick comment from Colton Gesser coming over here saying glad Fence finally got his chance at the top, and he's showing why he deserved that chance. And of course, Tommy has done legendary things at Manchester. And listen, me and Dave. I can wrong way. There you go. I always get the wrong way. Dave and I could speak for Dave. We're both privileged that you guys agree to come on the show every year. Because obviously, Fancy, we've known you forever. You're unfortunately a part of our family, whether you want to be or not. And, Farrell, since you've gone there, we've developed a really good relationship. I've had a sense of someone that actually cares about the town and wants to be there. And obviously, Fence said, hey, he's a good guy. And when Fence says it, then I'm there. So, that's all you needed. All you needed to get the good graces in the Cuesta household was Fence was like, yeah, Tommy Farrell's a good dude. And that was it.
The Cuesta household is more powerful than the Poss household. And I know that he'll take offense to that, or even the household. So both families there, let's go, Cuestas. Let's go. There's some Manchester families out there.
I mean, well, considering we both left Manchester, we don't know about all that. And the only remaining Cuesta is now a Klein. The power is kind of dwindling there. But
all I'm going to say, Alex, is Dave's been at my house before.
I have.
Alex, I would consider you one of my best friends, and we haven't even met in person yet.
Listen, I agree. But Dave is a single man that can move around very easily. Coach, you will find out as the youngling gets older and older, movement becomes harder and harder until they can drive on their own. And then you can tell them to piss off.
Then I guess I'm really stuck in Manchester, which is fine. I'm happy to be here.
You're screwed. Anyway, so Tyler Casio coming in saying there was a bear in the chat.
The bear.
Bear. So he was Coach Fence. He played for my dad at New Egypt, was Coach Fence's defensive coordinator, and now he's our volunteer D-line coach at Manchester this year.
That's awesome.
The tangled
so
webs
it all runs in the family. The crazy Fence Farrell family. There's always a connection.
But more importantly, he does an amazing job with a nonprofit called Ballers and Bookworms, and raises a ton of money and does a ton for kids. And he's a great coach. He's a great coach. What he does for a lot of underprivileged kids in Monmouth Ocean Shore Conference area is unbelievable. It's not just Shore Conference; it's all over the state.
Dave, pull that up. I want
to. If you have an opportunity to go contribute and help out Ballers and Bookworms, I try to give some time and donate a little bit of time to the football camp he runs, and it's an important thing to me in my heart. He does an amazing job with what he does. So if you could, give a little research into that, it would go a long way, because it means a lot to him. And, he just does a tremendous job. And a lot of people that go into it, but Bear does a great job. So I just wanted to mention that.
There he is.
So that's fantastic. So
right here, ballersandbookworms.org. You can go throughout the website. Yep. You have your services and everything in there. Just want to bring that up real quick.
Very nice looking. Is that Manchester playing right there? Scroll down.
Hold up.
Is that M Town? No, and then little middle sequence there.
That's
the Warriors.
No. Go up.
Where?
Up a little bit. Right? Is that us? Is that M Town right there?
No. You are blind, sir.
Isn't that blue and gold right there?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't right to the left, in the
purple.
Oh, it's purple. I don't know.
Yes.
I am blind. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe it's the hue on my screen. Shut up, okay? Coach Chacon coming in saying amen to that. Casio is as selfless as it comes, and Coach Casio come back in. Damn, you guys are too kind. I'm the lucky one to have Fence and Farrell in my life as family. And Chacon saying the branded off the Fence and Farrell tree is an amazing one. So listen, that is something that the branches. There you go. You corrected yourself, Coach. But it is true, and that tree has been deep for a long time. Obviously, from Coach Farrell, from your dad, Fancy coming from a long line of other coaches that coaching my uncle forever, Coach Covert, things like that, Coach Panicue. So the line is massive, and you can find that tree. Manchester, just New Jersey football has a bunch of those massive trees and things like that, and it's always so good. So, Dave, we're going to do a quick rundown. Dave, pull up New Egypt schedule for me.
Okay.
Because Coach Fancy, I want you to do a quick rundown of the schedule and kind of just give us some.
Might be hard to see.
Well, zoom in, Dave. Don't suck at this. Will you just be good at podcasting? Thanks.
No problem.
Is that the furthest it goes?
I can go further.
Go further. Make that big. Dave, what are you doing here?
I'm doing
We're supposed to be professional.
Is that good? Is that all right?
That's better. I think we can see it. All right. So, Coach, give us a little bit of a rundown of the schedule, any of the key games that we should be circling and paying attention to here.
Circle them all. They're all important. We open up at home against Shore, which, like I said, we developed a little bit of a rivalry with, been on the short end of that rivalry, but we're excited to give it a shot this year. That's at home, first game. Non-division, which is they were in our division last year. They're non-division this year. Then we go on the road to Coach Saccone and one of my best friends, and we have a little rivalry. And I love him because he's all about the kids and he does it the right way and he understands. We probably talk once a week, and we always laugh, and that's a great battle because we have very similar teams and very similar things that we have to overcome as coaches. So that's always a great battle. The next one's probably going to be near and dear to my heart because we're coming down to Pinelands, and my son's a sophomore on the Pinelands team. So I get to coach against my son, and Mrs. Fence is going to hate that week. And,
you guys driving to the game together?
No.
So you're taking the bus since you're also the athletic director and the head coach?
Haven't made that determination yet. That's
you have to show up in one of those button-up suits, so you can go in as the athletic director and you just tear it off when the game starts. And there's your coaching attire underneath. Do a basketball suit.
I'm a shirt and tie guy. I don't. The jacket's got to be really, really special. But
then take the shirt and tie underneath and just rip off the other stuff.
It's not only that. I've coached all those kids in flag football, and I know all those kids, and I have a great relationship with Coach Tierney, who does so much for short conference girls flag football and short conference football. And he's coached my other son, and I know their coaching staff really well, and that's a game that you just circle, and it's going to be special. Go on to Keensburg, and they have Coach Bird back, who's done great things for that district. He's also another administrator who's a head coach, which is pretty cool to see. So I'm excited to go to Keensburg and play Coach Bird and Coach Clark from Lakewood. And we got to start practicing how to defend Power now, because that's how well he runs Power. And then Keyport, who returns pretty much everybody. And Asbury Park, who we played last year there and were fortunate, but they have a great quarterback. And then Monmouth, and our goal is to be playing Monmouth at our place, but right before state playoffs for the division title. That's our goal. That's what we're hopefully we want to do, and I know everybody wants to go into that last week of their division schedule, hoping to clinch a division title, and it's what everybody does to set their goal, and that's what our goal is. And Monmouth returns everybody as well. Real young team last year that brings back everybody. So that, like I said earlier, every week you're going to go into games hoping in the fourth quarter that it's a game. That's what I love about the short conference. And, every game's going to be a test of how well did you prepare? How well did your students buy in? Mm-hmm. And you try to be better than the other coach on the other sideline, maybe by 1 or 2%, and that tilts the advantage. So it's exciting times. It's a great schedule. The short conference has done a tremendous job putting a Group 1 schedule for us. And we're excited to get going and get playing.
So for those that don't know, real quick, if you're going to look up when you see the New Egypt logo, you'll see PowerPoints when you go down there. That is the crux of my existence. I hate the PowerPoint system, and it is so important. Obviously, Coach Fentz talks about the schedule. Coach Farrell. That schedule makes all the freaking difference, right? In terms of how to position yourself with PowerPoints and things like that, because a win is not just a win in New Jersey football. It matters your opponent. It matters how they've played all the year, their style points and their wins, your style points in your wins and things like that. So everyone, Dave, what was this website again? I forget it, man.
GridironNewJersey.com.
Gridiron New Jersey. So anyone that's interested in Jersey football, you want to see how schools are doing, don't just pay attention to wins and losses, because you could see teams with a good amount of wins that maybe don't get into the playoffs, and it all depends on who they played, who they won, things like that. So that's super important that you have that PowerPoints index there, and they have the calculation there, which doesn't matter. It doesn't count. It changes. It's calculus 4 level stuff with the PowerPoint. So, and some coaches are really good about knowing that.
Coach O'Donnell.
Coach O'Donnell is good at that. A psycho with PowerPoints. Like, he could tell you looking at a team job
more ridiculous when he looks at the SI, which is the strength index, unofficially, and I'm saying unofficially in like big, bold, underlined exclamation points. Mm-hmm. The strength index should really be how much you beat a team by. And I hate that, because that is a common theme amongst coaches. Like, oh, New Egypt has a 46. I have a 48. We should beat New Egypt by 2. But that is and that changes every week depending on who you beat. Yeah. And that also changes with, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little tangent here, because I also agree with you, Alex. It's ridiculous. I don't even know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I really don't care anymore.
You don't have to say it.
But you know what? The group size as of last year doesn't matter. So if you're a Group 1 playing a Group 4, the group size doesn't matter. You used to get a certain amount of points for the wins, how many wins they have, and then how many the group size they are. Mm-hmm. Now they got rid of that. It just depends on how many wins they have, and then the wins, the points for the win you have.
Yeah.
But in the SI, the group size still does matter. So what are
a little confusing.
It is.
And one of my biggest,
I just put it in ChatGPT.
That's a good idea.
One of my biggest issues with the
put it in Chat OD.
Chat ODT. One of my issues with PowerPoints always has been, as coaches, Coach Fentz, Coach Farrell, I coach as well. When you're beating a team, when you know that you're having a good game, you're that much better in the team, you don't want to demoralize the other side. You really don't want to do that to kids. But if you're someone who is looking at a playoff chance and it's tight, you don't have a choice but to not call off the dogs, because you want to get those style points. And it really encourages kind of that lack of sportsmanship that I know we all preach, like be good sports and things like that. But, it's almost, it's tough. I've never been a fan of it. I don't know if there's a great system either with the differences in sizes of schools and stuff. Like, it is tough to decide, but at the same time, I've never been a fan of the PowerPoint system, and I wonder how other states do it. I don't know how other states do it, but I've just never enjoyed it because, like all the things you said, Coach Farrell, they account to some things now, they don't account for others, and also the lack of sportsmanship that is almost forced upon a coach if you're in a position and you're in a tight race to make a playoff. So.
I will die by integrity and sportsmanship over everything. And that's the end of the story. Like that's just how we live. That's how we operate. And if that means we don't get into a playoff, and as much as I want to win football games and do right by the history of the school and have success, integrity over ego, right, Fancy? Like that's just what we live and die by. And that's on the back of our t-shirts this year. So let them come up with whatever calculus, honors, AP formula they want, knowing that maybe look, we're not the brightest guys in the world as football coaches, but if you don't want us to understand it, fine. I'd rather 10 lion than 100 sheep. And I'd rather do right by the kids and the morality and the honor and the class of the game than all of this BS.
Yeah, I mean, to speak to that, I don't get into the calculations. I know some coaches do, and when it comes time, reporters kind of report what's going on, and it is what it is. I got too much to worry about other than formulas and things like that. I don't know a better system, and I don't know. There's a lot of people that get paid more money to figure this stuff out. I go coach kids, and I try to put our kids in the best position possible. And last year we got beat by Point Beach, and that they made the playoffs, and I was trying to figure out if we made it or not, and we wound up getting a higher seed than Point Beach, and they probably deserved a better seed than us. And then they got Glassboro, and we got Shore. And I don't get the system. I don't dislike it. I don't like it. I just coach kids, and what happens, and we go from there.
In 2023, we were 7-2 and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. There you go.
As a group 3, which now we're a group 2, as a group 3 with, yes, a smaller schedule, but then the year after, then in 2024, they say group size doesn't matter. So it's like, let's be, if we're going to have a formula, let's have a consistent formula. Like if you're going to have not the best refs, let's consistently not have the best refs, or you know what I mean? Like let's just be consistent with what we're doing, and let's stop changing it. And look, I don't know if COVID had it. Look, I've been a head coach for 4 years. I've only been coaching for 7 years overall. Like, don't know if it's COVID. Don't know if it's the transfer rule now in New Jersey. I don't know what the answer is. And I'm not saying I have a right answer. And my dad's going to get mad at me for saying, well, if you don't have an answer, then don't speak about the problem, which I agree with. But they're like 7-2 and not making the playoffs in 2023. That irked me a little bit. Shane Beamer in South Carolina didn't make the playoff at 8-3 by beating Clemson at home. Like, what is the evaluation?
Yeah. So quick question. Do they ever send you guys the formula, or do the athletic directors get something where, because at least if they email it to you and say, hey, this is exactly what we're going by, this is how we calculate it, this is what we do. Okay, then I guess it's on me as the coach to like kind of figure that out. Do they send that type of stuff to you guys when they make those changes?
Yeah, they do. It's in like a 6-page PDF that I'm actually trying to find for you. And they give you like team A and team B and whatever. And thank God I have Coach O'Donnell on my staff, because he knows.
That's when you assign it to another coach and let them know about it.
Here you go.
Quick. Oh, you got it.
No, I got it. I can.
Yeah, good.
I don't even know
you're allowed to share. If you go to a little thing on the bottom, we can let you share. There's like a little computer screen with an up arrow.
Here you go. Oh, no, not that one. All right, this one. Here you go. Can you guys see it?
Yep. Adding you onto it.
So here you go.
That is quite a
look. You got to literally do math here.
Yeah.
My head's already hurting.
That's pretty rough,
right? So they send this PDF out every 2 years when they do the classifications of like group size. So like 2023 we were group 3. 2022 and 2023 we were group 3, but 24 and 25 were a group 2, just strictly based off of male or enrollment from 9 through 11. But then look, like the team A is 5-2. So they give you scenarios, but then it's like you got to do math here. And now Catholic schools are different. Non-playoff.
Again, this is why we rely on Coach OD, the math guy.
Correct. Like here's it used to be. So here's quality points. It used to. Okay, so you still get, yes, this is accurate. You get a win for 6, a loss for 0. But say you lost and you're a group 1 and you played a group 4, you'd still get 4 points for playing a group 4. If you won you get 6 and you played a group 4, you'd get 10 points because you played a group 4. But now group size doesn't matter. Fine. But we're going to change. Like, I don't know how much they're going to change it. So
that's different.
Then you get residuals and all that, and then PowerPoint examples. And then it all goes into this strength index and how the SI is formulated. Look, I'm not a math guy. I'm an English teacher. So I'm not going to sit here and say I have a solution. That's why I said I'm probably going to get some crap because I'm not going to give a problem if I don't have a solution. But I don't think it's perfect, and I don't know if there is a perfect one. And it's not as
issue.
as the NFL, because you would say the college football playoff system is new and imperfect, and we don't know what the right answer is. But I would like to think like South Carolina probably should have got in last year, but who am I?
All right, so we appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot right there.
A ton. So, Coach Farrell, we're going to keep you talking. Dave,
well, hold up, real quick. I want to bring this up. The logo here on this website for New Egypt is nice. It looks good on a varsity jacket, I can very much assume. But I was looking at other things on other schedules and stuff like that, and I got to this one. This logo is incredible. This logo is awesome. Why don't you guys use this more? I don't know if you can see it very well. I zoomed in as much as possible while making the page look good.
We actually have a new logo that's neither of those that I think is phenomenal.
Really?
Yes.
Can we find it somewhere?
New Egypt school page.
All right, hold up. Let me
NewEgypt.us.
Oh, a .us too. I like it.
Yeah.
We know it's in the United States. It's not Egypt over there in Africa. It is in the United States.
It might be. You don't know.
Fancy, are you in Africa right now?
I am not. I'm not.
I think I see it now. Is it this guy?
That's it. Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty dope too.
That is a really nice one as well.
It's phenomenal.
That's a really nice one as well.
It's phenomenal.
Okay, I'll give you that. I just, I'm a logo guy. I like looking at different logos and saying whether they're good or not. Alex knows this.
Yeah, David's critical of logos very much.
But that is a very nice one. It's a good modern way. That also kind of looks like an older style. That's a nice one.
It's kind of Achilles. It just looks like Achilles going to slash something. I can take that.
Yeah. All
right, Dave. So let's jump to Manchester schedule. Let's get Coach over here, Coach Farrell. Give us a quick rundown. Give us some any games that you want to particularly highlight. Let's go.
Gonna give the fancy answer, the cliche answer. They're all important, and with our lack of experience, like I hate again. You got to look at it. Like you can say you don't care what the SI is, but the SI is 60. That's what we ended the season with last year. Mm-hmm. With a bunch of varsity experience and a playoff win and a division championship. If you're going off of that, we're not a 60. Like we haven't had the best training camp. We're young. We're learning. We have a new offensive coordinator, which love Keith Anderson. Happy to have him. Happy for Coach Brown at Marlboro. But that's gonna put a wrinkle into things. Same style of offense, maybe a little bit of different terminology that we're still getting used to. Coach O'Donnell is still running the same defense. But look, Toms River East week 0 out the gate with 2 scrimmages. So we had a scrimmage on Monday at Allentown. We have a game scrimmage at Raritan, who's probably going to be one of the biggest teams we see all year and one of the best Group 2 teams we see all year. I think they have like 2 or 3 Division I offensive linemen. Then we go out, we play home against Toms River East at our place, thank God, because East is a tough place to play. Mm-hmm. And they're a Group 4 with a lot of numbers. Yep. And regardless of their records in the past, it doesn't matter. They have depth. And I don't know if we have depth right now. Barnegat the next week, both first 3 games are out of division. So Barnegat, another rival out of division. We had success with them the last 2 years. But again, a Group 3 school with a lot of depth. Coach Covian's one of my best friends who lives right down the street from me in Manahawkin. Love what he's doing. Love what they're about. That's always a tough game. At Lacey, who we haven't seen in a while, Coach Versillo, probably, if not the longest tenured coach in the Shore Conference. Yep. to play at their place for their home opener, not going to be easy. They have a lot coming back, and they smoked us twice in a 7-on-7. And I don't want to hear 7-on-7 isn't football, because there's still schemes that are football related. So, and my brother
comes down to just
physical.
physical.
At the end, is shaking his head next to me, like, well, just because you didn't participate in a 7-on-7. Central at home. Thank God we're home, because another tough place to play, first divisional game. They have Elijah Reeder and CJ Yates and two dogs on their team with Coach Pigeon, who's a great coach, who's a few years older than me. I think they're I'm not even going to say a dark horse. I think they're one of the favorites in B South. They lose a lot, but they bring a lot back because they have numbers. Another Group 4 team, Toms River South. They probably have, I mean, I've borrowed helmets from Coach Martin before because they have so many numbers on their team. Another divisional opponent, a lot of tough, gritty kids. Happy we're not playing at their place because Toms River South is an amazing environment. Happy we're at the Hawks Nest for that. And Coach Martin was one of my coaches in high school. He was my I played for him and Coach Zaccone, who's the coach at Point Beach, who's in the chat. Then at Monmouth Regional, our only Group 2 opponent on the schedule. So similar size, but guess what? They started like 5 to 7 freshmen last year.
Yeah.
They have a lot of, if not all of their returners coming back. Mm-hmm. Southern Group 5 as a Group 2 in our division. That's, I think, we're their homecoming game. That's another tough opponent. Coach Donahue has been there maybe a little less than Coach Versilla, but another established, head coach who's big and physical, and they like to run the rock. Pinelands, just like Barnegat, another rival. I know we have a common opponent in Coach Fence. Like we've played in gritty games with them. That's all come down to the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And they always have a very talented and disciplined offensive line, which I'll call out my team right now. I'm calling out my O-line and D-line right now because I think we need to be better in those two position groups. And then we ended at Brick Township. It was another top dog in our division, another Group 4, historical program. Coach Graber, I don't have a winning record against because he was at Matawan my first year, who won the division. So when you have a lot of returners, I know what he can do with that. That's going to be dangerous. And put it on top of it, the only positive, I think, is that my dad works in Brick, and he'll be standing not on my sideline. So I think that might be a little good distraction, or non-distraction, that he's not going to be on the sideline. Yeah. As I said, he's going to root for his paycheck. So a very tough. You do the average. Again, not a math guy, but I'd say we average a Group 3-4 schedule as a 2. And very tough schedule, very tough division, very tough out-of-division opponents, but exactly where we want it, exactly where we want to be if you're building a program and a culture, but it's built already. The foundation is built, and this is exactly what we want. And we're not going to take any prisoners, and we're still going to play our mode of football.
I love it. And yeah, it's funny. It's like these are a lot of good big programs, but like I said earlier, it's the schedules that I was used to seeing growing up. When it was coming into football and different sports that I did. So as tough as it's going to be, I'm going to enjoy watching Manchester size themselves up against those schools again, because it's going to be a long time. I always say, I always joke around, like Manchester, we're the redheaded stepsister of Toms River, Jackson, and Brick. They're around us. So that's just the 3 towns that directly surround us. And every once in a while, we come in and we punch all of them in the mouth and we surprise all of them. And that's what I'm hoping that we see.
And I want to share one thing, Matt, because I'm usually not braggadocious. I'm not saying I'm like taking it easy on the guys or like giving you guys, like a false hope. But and we'll get into it a little bit later, but I haven't been at practice that much this week for Family Matters. Mm-hmm. And the one practice I was at was on Friday of last week. The second the second practice with uppers on. So at least you're kind of banging, you're getting a little physical. The best practice we had in my 4 years as a head coach. From everything, from an execution standpoint, from a bought-in standpoint, but more importantly for me, a physicality standpoint. Like we were hitting, and we were hitting correctly, and nobody was injured, and we were just more competing. Oh, we were seeing sophomores competing with seniors. We were wrong arming at the DN position with a senior and a sophomore that you freaking felt it.
That's good.
So if
that's good.
Like maybe we won't be as talented as some of the teams on our schedule. Fine, but we're gonna wear on you, and it's gonna hurt after you play us because we're at least gonna hit you. And I was so proud. I don't say that lightly because I played college linebacker and I take defense and physicality very seriously. But that Friday practice, at least we're not hesitant. That's what I'll say. At least we're not hesitant.
That's good.
I'll say this. As Manchester, we always hung our hat that we hit on defense. And it was usually our offense. And I know Fence isn't going to like to hear this because he was a good wide receiver for us. But it was usually our offense that would put us in a hole. And we'd be on the field a lot on defense. And we'd start off the games hitting the crap out of them. And then we'd be freaking tired. At least that was my experience as a Manchester football player. And I played both sides. So I know, like, listen, I wasn't doing enough on offense either to keep us getting first downs. But and again, Fenty's gonna get mad at me too because he was an offensive coordinator, so he's just gonna want to beat me up later. But
what?
And that was the usual response when I would say things to Fence while I was a player as well. But yeah, no. So I love hearing that, the pride, and just, you know, if you beat us, you're still gonna know that we're there, and you're not gonna get an easy win. You're not gonna walk all over us. You're gonna walk away with some. You're gonna be dirty. You're going to get hit, and that's always a good thing too. You let them know that you're there. So I love that. So Jay Longo coming in saying, don't forget, Tommy, that brick game is circled 7 times for me and you. The sons versus our dads. Yeah.
Yeah, so my my linebackers and JV coach, Jay Longo, his father's the AD at Brick Township. And obviously my father's superintendent. Great guy. So yeah, you know, the best family ever. I'm happy to have Jay on our staff. Mm-hmm. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So as we go through, we get through the schedules. I think you guys both talked a little bit about your goals in the season, but just Coach Fence, any other specific goals outside? You know, obviously we talked about you're switching gears to let's get this division. Let's go in there. Let's get this division. Let's make it ours. Anything outside of grabbing that division, the goal?
No, you know. That's your competitive insides that are pushing you to that. I just want to see growth in the program. I want to increase numbers. I want, kids to have a good experience. Those are the things that matter to me. I want them to come back in 10 and 20 years and be a big part of New Egypt football. You saw Tyler on here, Bear in here. He was a big part of New Egypt football, and it helped shape him, I would hope. And, a big part of my staff, other than Coach A and Coach Tomei, New Egypt football has been a part of them. Coach Clugston, Coach Souls, Coach Sempervive, they've had New Egypt ties and mean something to them. So when you can keep a staff on, and New Egypt, they're there because of New Egypt, not because of me. It means something. So you want continuity. We those are things that are really, really important to me. And I care, the results are going to, after doing this for 27 years, the results are going to be where they are. And you just want to see everybody do the right thing and look back on their football experience and have a lot of positive memories and look back and know that it helped shape who they are. And maybe I had a little hand to do with that. And that's pretty cool when I put my head on the pillow at night.
I love it. So you, Coach Farrell, as well, you mentioned a lot of things here. Obviously a step up in competition, a step up in level for Manchester football, especially in your tenure there. When you're telling your team, what are our season goals for this year?
I take as Arizona State coach, Kelly Dillingham. I think we were hired the same year in 2022, and I steal his answer. I take the cliche answer that as the head coach, I don't have football goals. I let the kids decide their football goals. I have goals of GPA, community service, and just being quality men. And after a few years of saying that answer and winning a division championship and winning a playoff game, I trust in that even more, that the kids have realistic and achievable goals. But what I've now focused on, as I guess you could say being a dad, has changed me. I've played for a lot of amazing head coaches from Pop Warner to high school to college. I've coached under some amazing coaches like Coach Fence. The one common theme playing and coaching for a lot of different coaches is that I never lost my love for the game. I still have the same butterflies that I had being an 8-year-old playing at Toms River East High School. I have the same butterflies I had running out in the Donovan Tunnel, which I know you guys don't even think it exists.
I mean, the tunnel was awesome,
Playing
but Donovan doesn't exist.
Stone Hill at a scholarship level, running out on Evergreen at Shore Regional at Parsippany. Like, the butterflies have never changed. And the Hawk's Nest has, I'd like to think, has become even a more of a home, like a home advantage, a home field advantage with the bagpipes and the American flag over the bleachers and coming out to we come out to the Lion King right before kickoff. Very cool. I've never lost the love for the game. So if I do have one football goal, I never want my players to lose their love for the game. I want to not only encourage, I don't want to let them lose their love for the game, but I want to encourage it even more. I want them to fall in love with the game more and more each day. And I tell them training camp is supposed to suck, right? Like, it's not supposed to be easy. You're going to hit and you're going to run and you're going to be sore. And there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. You got to play through being hurt, but if you're injured, we'll take care of you. That's like a Warren Wolf line that my Uncle Leon always told me. But the day that I don't wake up before my alarm, the day I don't love football anymore is a day I'll retire. And I don't have that by any means. And more importantly, I want my kids to fall more in love with the game than they first did. And that is that if I had one football goal, it's to fall more in love with the game and the camaraderie and the bond that you get from playing football.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's great. And, I think both you gentlemen are going to have good years. I'm excited to watch what both you do. Coach Fentz, obviously, you guys are going to do what you do. And one thing we know about a Coach Fentz coach team, whether it's you as, coordinator, coach, head coach, you're prepared. And I think that's one of the things, and everybody knows when they're going up against Fancy, and Coach Farrell will say this too, that his guys are going to be prepared. They're going to know what they're doing. And, at that point, it just comes down to execution, right? But they're going to be prepared to go out and do it. And you, Coach Farrell, I think Manchester, it's going to feel like a welcome back party coming back into that division. And I think you guys are going to do better than you think. Again, because I said, I meant it where the camaraderie and just the consistency of the staff matters. Obviously, a new offensive coordinator is going to change things, but for generally, it's the same consistency, the same message, the same tone, and that's going to be big. And that's something Manchester has had a tough time with, is keeping coaches there for a long period of time. We've had
what, too? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
I'm so proud of my kids for being defending champs and still practicing like there's a chip on their shoulder. They are not accepting, oh, we're good. No, like they are practicing with a purpose, which is a dangerous Manchester team.
We'll always be Manchester. Doesn't matter what we do. We'll always be Manchester.
I will always work with a blue collar, gritty, physical football team, regardless of the schedule. And yes, at first I was pissed that we have the division championships shirts for the 7-on-7. But they were so good when I ripped them after the 7-on-7. I was like, you guys stink and we need to work. And they took that. Like, when you have a team that's coachable, like, again, our biggest strength is leadership. Love it. Because when a Manchester team is pissed off, it's dangerous. And I love it. I had to throw that in because I'm so proud of how the kids have responded to the quote unquote hype of the successful seasons the last 2 years. So with a bigger schedule and they have that want and that fortitude, I love it. I can coach that team.
So, real quick, Tyler Casio coming in saying nothing tops Hell's Bells at Evergreen. That sounds awesome. And Tyler, thank you so much. Saying great podcast and interview. And so we appreciate both you gentlemen for coming on. Everyone, please make sure that you go. And if you want to follow New Egypt Football on X and Instagram, go at @any_HS Football. If you want to follow Manchester Football and all their escapades, go follow them on X and Instagram at Manchester TWP FB, and make sure everyone goes and checks out both these teams. They're going to be doing great stuff. So before we jump out of here, I do want to do, we normally don't dedicate episodes, but today we are going to do a dedication. Coach Farrell, he alluded to it a few times. He did have a situation go on in his family. I'm not going to go into too much detail, Coach, but we just want to make a dedication. So we are going to end off with that. And we appreciate everyone that's watching wherever you watch from. We'll be back next week, y'all.